Hello everyone, hello everyone, and welcome to this audio podcast today. This audio podcast today that looks to introduce this premiere. This audio podcast is part of this audio podcast today is part of the Serology Squil. This audio podcast is part of the Hustle and Serotype. This audio podcast is part of a Defcon premiere, and this audio podcast is part of a Storm Lobostics production. So today, looking at some of the intro or introduction to works to works, looking at an exposition of stratified receptors, the idiosyncrasy surrounding early transplant immunobiology. So, as part of the intro, to begin with, looking at chemokine receptors and leukocyte trafficking in human renal acute allograft rejection, or AAR. So, in amongst renal transplantation, the occurrence of one or more episodes of AAR is a major determinant of graft prognoses. Most episodes of AAR is caused or are caused by cell-mediated processes and require the infiltration of allo-active T cells into the engrafted organ. Over 40 inducible chemokines and 20 inducible chemokine receptors have been identified in amongst varying laboratory investigations since in around the new millennia, in the new millennia, and if not sort of more historically. At the same time, in vitro investigations on the responses of activated T cells to inflammatory chemokines suggest substantial redundancy in this system, with multiple chemokines produced at tissue sites binding to multiple receptors on circulating leukocytes. Chemokines or chemotactic cytokines are sort of a large family of small, structurally related proteins that intervene a wide or broad range of biological activities. As part of normal immunobiology, if you like, chemokines are a critical component of leukocyte trafficking, essential for immune system architecture and development, and immune surveillance. Chemokines binding to receptors on leukocytes sort of mediate the behind the scenes plays between antigen presenting cells and host T cells in lymphoid tissues, and the actual immediate immune responses that can sort of acutely destroy an allograft and encourage inflammatory responses seen clinically as chronic rejection. That draws this initial audio podcast to a close. This audio podcast is part of the Serology and Squil. This audio podcast is part of a Hustle and Serotype. This audio podcast as part of a Defcon premiere, and this audio podcast as part of a Storm Lobostics production.